بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولتجدنهم أحرص الناس على حياة ومن الذين أشركوا يود أحدهم لو يعمر 1000 سنة وما هو بمزحزحه من العذاب أن يعمر والله بصير بما يعملون صدق الله العظيم. Regarding ayat number 96 of Surat al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in this ayah, وَلَتَجِدَنَّهُمْ أَحْرَصَ النَّاسِ عَلَى حَيَاةٍ, that definitely you will find them, meaning the Bani Israel, أَحْرَصَ النَّاسِ عَلَى حَيَاةٍ, they are the most greedy for life. They are the most greedy to live in this world, live in this dunya. وَمِنَ الَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا, even more than those who are mushrik, even more than the mushrikeen, those who associate partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will find these Bani Israel, they will be more greedy to live and to try their best to stay in this dunya, to live in this world. يَوَدُّ أَحَدُهُمْ لَوْ يُعَمَّرُ 1000 سَنَةٍ. Each one of them, they have this desire, they have this wish. Each one of them is wishing and desiring and hoping لَوْ يُعَمَّرُ 1000 سَنَةٍ, that they could be given a life of 1000 years in this world. وَمَا هُوَ بِمُزَحْزِحِهِ مِنَ الْعَذَابِ أَن يُعَمَّرُ. But even such a prolonged life, such a long life, it will not help them, it will not save them in any way from the adhab of the hereafter. وَاللَّهُ بَصِيرٌ بِمَا يَعْمَلُونَ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He watches over all of your actions. This ayah and the ayat preceding this ayah, ayat number 94 and ayat number 95, they speak about the desire that the Bani Israel or the Ahli Kitab, they have of living in this dunya, of living in this world. Even though they claim that the hereafter is for them, but you'll find their desire to live so strong that they'll try their best to make this world as much of a paradise as they can. And they'll make every effort to try to prolong their life by even 1 minute, by 1 hour, 1 day, 1 year. They'll be making this effort, continuous effort, how they can try and live here forever. They have this deep desire to be immortal, to be eternal, to live in this dunya till the end of time, and even beyond the end of time. They want to try and defeat death or beat death. The reality of death is that no one has ever been able to stand against it as far as creation is concerned. Death is the most powerful creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As far as this dunya, as far as this world is concerned, as human beings, wherever we build our life, we wish to stay there. And if circumstances take us out of that life, how difficult it becomes. Many of us come from back home, a place where we were born, we spent many years of our lives till we became youth. We build a life for ourselves back home. Then circumstances and conditions changed. We had this great hope of coming to America, where you can sleep all day and money grows on the trees, and there is paradise where you just dream it and it happens, the land of dreams. You have to make no effort, and you don't even have to move your finger, and this world will move for you. We had these grand dreams of what America is, or at least we had what America was supposed to be. Even with all of those hopes, all of those dreams, how difficult was it to leave our home? Because we understood and we understand that that was life. If we wanted and we could, if it was within our power, we would have never left. Even we try to extend every 1 minute that we can to be at home. Now we came to this America, and we saw the reality here, but unfortunately we built our lives here as well. Now when we go home, or we go back home, and we're coming to America, we have hope that we're going to a better place. But it's still difficult to leave home. Because back home, your origin, your motherland, it's very difficult to leave that. Even though we have this hope that we've built a life in a better place, in a better country, we have better amenities, yet how difficult it becomes to leave back home. Especially if our parents are back home. Much more difficult. We have siblings, we have life back there. Though we have this dream that we're going to a better place and we've built a better home, back home is the real home. And leaving that every single time, how difficult it becomes. These two examples that I gave you, I want you to try and understand that there are many, many people who go through the opposite. As far as the first example, when we were leaving our back home for this better world, this land of freedom, this paradise that we had hope of, how difficult it was for us to leave. But yet we had this grand hope. That hope made it a little bit easy. At least we're going to a better place, if nothing else. There are people in this world who go through a third scenario also. That is that they come to this world, they come to this country as refugees. They come as immigrants. Then due to conditions implemented by the government, especially by a government that is run by a very strange man, then they end up getting deported. They live in such a beautiful world. They get used to the amenities of this country. And now they have to go to a country that they have never seen in their life. You see some of the reports coming out that this person was deported 20 years old or 25 years old. He was deported to a country that he's never seen in his life. Or he came to this country when he was 1 year old. He doesn't even know anything about the back home country. He goes to this third world country. He doesn't know anything about that country. He doesn't know the language. He doesn't know the culture. But he has heard things. That there the electricity doesn't work the way it works here. The amenities don't work the way they work here. And they don't have all these systems that they have here, the luxuries they have here. So this person, you can imagine how they feel. And how difficult, and they have no hope of coming back either. That hope is taken from them. They don't even think of coming back. Or you'll be arrested. This example is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us in these ayat. That the Bani Israel are those who have built their life in this world. They're like the immigrant who came here and built a life. Or they're like the immigrant whose parents immigrated here and they were born here. And now that they're born here, they've built a whole life for themselves here. But now, building their life here, they didn't care for right or wrong. They didn't care for anybody's feelings. Now time comes where they have to leave, and they're going to a place they don't even know where they're going. And they have no hope of what's left in that place. They don't know where they're headed. But one thing is clear is that they're told that wherever you are headed, first thing you have to face a judge before you go there. And they know how clean their record is. They've done every kind of crime. They're involved in every kind of gang and every kind of crime that you can think of. They've broken many, many laws. They have very bad credit. And then they stand in front of a judge. And now they know that I have to stand in front of this judge and they have my whole record. Nothing is hidden from this judge, and especially in this society, subhanallah. In every transaction you make. So now you stand in front of this judge and you know you have to stand in front of him. And if he deports you, takes you to a place that you're not familiar with, what will happen to you? So no one ever hopes to stand in front of a judge in this kind of condition. Why? Because they understand that if their record comes out, they have nothing good left in their record that can actually save them. So the Bani Israel, they know their own record. They know that if they're to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they know where they'll end up. So they have no hope for the akhirah. And this is the example of every single kafir, every single disbeliever. They have no hope in the akhirah. They don't believe in the akhirah. They don't believe in the hereafter. So they have no hope, nothing to look forward to. That's why the example of a believer, a Muslim, so they're told that in this dunya you check your a'mal, because your life is in a place that is forever and eternal. And his example is like the person who has to leave his home to go to a better land. And they have to migrate to America from back home. So they have many things to look forward to, many things to hope for. Of course, for the life hereafter for the believers, when they'll just see the kind of amenities and blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them in the qabr, in the grave, all of the difficulties of this dunya will be forgotten. Getting to the hereafter is far-fetched, and making it to Jannah is something else. But just the qabr itself, the grave itself, will become so beautiful for the believer that even the life in the grave, the person will be thinking, I'm in paradise, I've made it. So this dunya, all the pressures and hardships of this dunya are nothing. And really, what is this world? So this is why the kuffar and the Bani Israel, they're so greedy to live. You find in them kind of cowardice. You have this kind of, they're very coward. On top of that, they also have this arrogance. They have attachment to their desires. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam has told us in numerous ahadith related to the love of this dunya, the love of this world, the kind of dangers it can have. We're told, حُبُّ الدُّنْيَا رَأْسُ كُلِّ خَطِيئَةٍ, that the love of this dunya, the love of this world is the head of every single sin, or every single sin that you can call, every single mistake. It is the love of this dunya that has this. Another hadith we're told amongst the Ishratu Sa'ah, the signs of the Day of Judgment, is that the ummah, they'll be deprived, the people, they'll be deprived of the barakah of wahi. So the Sahaba, they asked, is this because the Quran, the people will not understand Quran? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told them, no, they'll have, inside their hearts, they'll be very coward. They will not have the kind of courage to hold on to their deen. Sahaba then asked, what will make them such cowards? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told them, حُبُّ الدُّنْيَا وَكَرَاهِيَةُ الْمَوْتِ, the love of this world and the hatred for death. Because you have really nothing to look forward to. When we're told about Jannah, for those who are mu'mineen and believers, who build the hereafter and build their homes in the hereafter, the righteous people, they can't wait to leave this dunya. They understand this world isn't worth it. But for those who build this world, what are they building it for? How long can you enjoy in this world? If nothing else, you have to die. You can build the greatest kingdom. You can build the greatest empire. You can build the maximum. You can be the richest, wealthiest person on earth. You can be the most honored person on earth. Then what? Then what? What's after that? You still have to face death. You claim that you've made it. You made it where? You've done what? What have you really achieved? The achievements of this dunya aren't worth it. After that, you start to realize that you achieved something. Now, whatever you were thinking you were going to get when you achieved that, it wasn't there, It was not what you thought. That is the reality of this dunya. There was a report that I was reading a few years back. Quite a few reports. I have a group of friends who are very unique. They send me articles, strange articles. Research is done. And it really is, some of these articles, they're eye-opening. You should also try to have these kind of friends. Sometimes they find this research that is done and they send it to you, and I read it, and subhanAllah, it really is an eye-opener. There was a few articles I'll share with you. One of the articles my friend sent me was The Fear of the Wealthiest Human Beings. This is the title of the of the article, what the wealthiest, most powerful, the title was The Fear of the Most Powerful Human Beings. So they had the article and they interviewed a few classes of people. And this was done over a span of many years, this kind of research. And the categories of people that they interviewed, one were the billionaires of the world. There's some group of them, I don't know the exact number, some 300 or 400 billionaires. So they were able to interview them in a span of a few years. That was one class of most powerful people. There's another class of powerful political people. The people in politics, specifically those world leaders. Then they interviewed another class of people that were in academia, at the top, these degrees and whatever you could consider as intelligence and intellect. So they interviewed every category and they found one thing amazing, one common trend amongst all of them. The one fear that all of them had. This was the title of the actual research, the fear of the most powerful people. Because as human beings, this is what we consider power. Either you're extremely wealthy, so you can fund whatever you want, or you're in politics, so you can control the politics, whatever form of it you think you can. Or you have some level of intellect where you are an expert in your field, so people will listen to you and you can change whatever you want. So you're considered powerful. And the fourth category, there's also a fourth category. They interviewed these, what do they call these people who are in the films? What do they call them? Stars. Is that what they call? There's another name also. Celebrities. Okay. So they interviewed the most famous celebrities. And they have funny names. I don't know all their names. Funny names. But anyway, those are strange names that I found. The other ones had normal names. Anyhow, many of them have strange names. You can tell they made up some of those names. Anyway, they interviewed all of them. And the one thing they found common in all of them, the one fear they had, all of them had. And that fear that all of them had was that they were going to lose what they had. The wealthy people feared that they were going to become poor. And this is the most common thing we found in the most wealthy. All 300 or 400 wealthiest people that they interviewed in the world, all of them feared poverty. They said we did not meet even one of them that didn't fear that poverty. Like the kind of fear they had, the kind of protection they had in place to save them from poverty. They had so many of these advisors and these financial advisors and all these things to manage their wealth. And they said another thing they found is that all of them had psychiatrists. We're going to come back to that separately. They all had psychiatrists on their payroll. Anyhow, same with politicians. The politicians, they were afraid that they were going to lose their political status. So they used to take every single measure to protect their position. They said except in countries where there was a limited time, or they said even then, there were many, many things that they used to pay, or they used to have certain things, ways to hide it, If you want to see, look how much scandals are coming out of the White House now. How much they were spending just to protect and hide everything. So there's so much that they're trying. That's the one thing they feared. All of them feared they were going to lose their position. And when it came to the intellectuals, each and every one of them feared that they were going to make a mistake in their academia and they were going to lose their position or their degree or whatever position that they had in academia. They were so afraid of making a mistake. Sometimes when we do a research, maybe we check once or twice. Some of them were checking the research how many times before they published it. You can go read the publication. It's a very lengthy article. And then the same thing with these celebrities or these stars. How much of their time they used to spend on the way they looked, on what kind of image they portrayed in the media, how much they were so self-conscious. And all of them feared that time is going to come or they're going to lose that position. Now all of them had this fear. This was such an amazing thing. So some of them, this fear was so dominant in them that they even lost their sleep over it. They went out of their way to keep that position or whatever they had. There was another article that was very amazing. This is the reality of dunya. This is the reality of dunya, of world. The reality of this dunya, this world, if you really want to know the example of this world, it's like ocean water. When you drink it, you think it will quench your thirst. What happens? It makes you more thirsty. And you keep on drinking it, will kill you. The salt water, it has a nature to make you more thirsty. So those who have this dunya, they're so worried. What's going to happen tomorrow? So this is the reality. This is one article, one amazing article that I was reading. How afraid they were of losing what they had. It's like the salt water. You drink it, you get thirstier and thirstier. You think it's going to quench your thirst. And there was another amazing article that someone sent me, which was it was related to how those who have all of the amenities of this world, what their dreams are, what their aspirations are, what kind of message they would give themselves. If they were ever had to have an interview with themselves before they got to the position they were at, what would they tell themselves? You know, sometimes they give you the title of the article was, what the successful people would advise their younger selves. So, you know, they said, okay, if you were to meet yourself 10 years ago or 20 years ago, what advice would you give yourself? It's a strange question, but but it was a very, very intriguing article. But one thing that they found common in all of the advices that they would give themselves, and again, the same 4 or 5 categories of people, from the wealthy to the political to the, you know, every single category. One thing that they found very common, that the one advice that they would advise, they said, what would you advise your younger self? They said that the one thing they advise their younger self is that whatever you're hoping that you're going to get, when you get there, you won't find it. Such a strange advice. They say we made it in life, you know, we got to where we were. They said, but if we had to talk to ourselves 10 years ago or 20 years ago, that whatever you're hoping and aspiring to get, you know, you're not going to find it. So then some of the article went into further details, what they meant by this kind of statement. And the details of this statement was that each and every one of them was hoping to find happiness. Each and every one of them was hoping to find this utopia, that they would get to this position, they would make these such ridiculous amount of money, or they would make it to some political position, or they would get to some level of academia, or they would get to some level in their whatever film industry or whatever they call that, some position, award or something they would get. They said the one thing that whatever we were hoping to get with that, they said that aspiration and that hope you have is just a dream. One of them put it really nicely. He said, I would tell myself that whatever you're dreaming of is just a mirage, because when you get there, it's nothing there. It's not what you know, that hype that you have, it's not that. And one of them, they interviewed him further. They said why. He was one of the wealthiest people who had so much wealth. You know, I forgot what the numbers were. It was in the billions. And they asked him that, what do you mean by this? He said, okay, I had this hope that money would really buy me happiness. He said, but let me put it like this. I don't know what to do with the money now. He said, I don't know. He said, as far as houses, you know, people dream. I'll buy houses, I'll buy cars. He said, okay, then what? Then you'll buy a yacht. Okay, then what? Then you buy an aeroplane or private jet or whatever they call it. He said, okay, then what? He said, I got to a point where now I don't know what. I just have the money, just numbers, you know. He said, now I feel that I'm working to give it to others. He was giving a lot of charity and what they call philanthropy or something. So he said, I'm working so that I can give the money to someone else, you know. He said, he said, so I would advise myself that it's not really worth it. They said, is it worth it? He said, it's only worth it to some point. After that, you're just working to give it to someone else. And they said, why are you giving so much in charity? He said, because I wrote a will that my children will not get anything. Most of them, they wrote in their will that their children will not get their wealth. Or they'll get a very small portion of their wealth. And part of the interview was why? Why did you give so less to your heirs, to your children? They said, because if our children found out that they could inherit from us, our children would kill us. To save ourselves, we had to put a style. You only get this much. Even if you kill me, you get nothing. You know? This is dunya. This is the world. Sometimes we have these dreams that we'll become so and so, and we'll get such and such, and we'll become something. You know, they had a very amazing interview with the previous president, President Obama. Whatever he was, at least one thing was clear, he was very intellectual. So they were having an interview with him that, what do you think about, any advice you have for people who are aspiring to become the president of the United States of America? He said, you know, I would just tell you that it's not worth it. That's all I'm going to tell you. And they asked Trump the same question when he won the election in 2016 or 17. They asked him, what advice would you give to yourself 10 years back? So Trump said, then I would advise myself, don't run for presidency. I would not want to become the president, So, because you get there, you realize what it has, So this is the reality. Sometimes we don't realize what we're getting ourselves into. So this is the reality of dunya. This world, when you don't have it, the people who don't have it want it. And the people who have it don't know what to do with it. This is dunya. This is the world. It makes them worried. If you don't have it, you're worried. If you have it, you're worried. There was a man, he was walking on the side of the ocean, so he saw something glittering, So he bent down and he picked up, it was a diamond. A pearl. A pearl had washed up on the shore. So he picked it up and he realized how valuable this must be. So he went to the one jeweler and he, what is the value of this pearl? So the guy looked at it, examined it. He said, oh man, where'd you find this? He said, why? You buy it from me. He said, no, you don't understand. He said, this thing is so valuable. If I sell everything in my jewelry store, I can't afford this. This is how valuable this is. What the value was. So this man, he said, okay, thank you. He took it, he put it in his pocket, So, he was with one of his friends, he was going in. 1 day passed, 2 days passed. Third day, he told his friend, he said, his friend looked at him and said, for the past 2-3 days, you've been looking really kind of worried. He said, man, I don't know what to do, man. Come, let's go. So they went back to that ocean side and he took out the pearl and he looked at his friend. He said, the past 2 days you saw me looking worried because of this. And he threw it back into the ocean, His friend said, what did you do? How expensive that must be? He said, I know what it's worth. That's why I'm so worried, His friend said, why? What are you talking about? He said, okay, 3 days ago, I was walking here and I saw something glittering. So I picked it up. I said, what is this weird looking? He said, to me, it looked like a pearl. Nice, beautiful. He said, I took it to such and such jewelry shop and I wanted to sell it, make some money. So the jeweler told me, listen, this thing is so valuable. If I sell everything in my shop, I can't afford this. So rare, whatever you found. So he said, I thought to myself, how valuable this must be. So he said, I hid it in my pocket. So he said, as I was walking down the street, and I thought to myself, oh man, what if someone cuts my pocket? So I took it from this pocket, I put it in this pocket. He said, then I thought to myself, what if somebody sees it? So he said, I went home and I hid it. Then I thought to myself, what if I hide it and someone finds it? So I hid it in a place, and then I thought to myself, what if I forget where I hide it? So he said, I just trying to figure out where to put this thing, So he said, then I started thinking, what am I going to buy? What if someone finds out about this? He said, worry after worry. Time came at nighttime I couldn't sleep. He said, this is the third day I can't sleep because I'm worried about this. He said, this is why I threw it back. This is what this world does to us. This is what this dunya does to us. And sometimes we're so ready to throw everything away for this dunya. This is the reality of dunya. But there are people who only have this world. They have nothing to aspire for. As believers, we should be wise. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us, Al-Qayyisu man da'ana nafsah wa amila lima ba'da al-maut. A wise man is one who takes account of himself and he prepares for the life hereafter. He does actions that'll help him in the hereafter. You build your akhirah. In the akhirah, if you build your akhirah, so you'll have a treasure no one can take from you. Think about it. Who can steal your Jannah from you? There was I think I've narrated this story before. There was a king who was walking with his entourage. He was going. And he saw there was a very righteous sheikh who used to go outside, used to do his muraqabah, sitting on the side. He was sitting under the tree, and he was just relaxing. And he was facing the sun and just getting the sunlight. It was a beautiful life. Simple life, Sometimes the simple life is very beautiful. Keep things simple. Ala inna al-badadata min al-iman. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has told us that the simplicity is from iman. You gotta keep simple life. There's a righteous man, and we've seen some of this with some of our mashayikh and elders. Sometimes during the daytime, after they get done with their classes, they just sit outside and just enjoy the sunlight, We were too busy running around figuring out what to do, but they enjoy the sunlight, So this sheikh was sitting there, and this king happened to pass by with his entourage, And he was passing by and he saw this, and he asked his entourage, who's this guy? This poor guy sitting on the side. What's he doing here? So they told him, no, this is not a poor guy. This is a sheikh so-and-so, one of the mashayikh of the time, a great sheikh. So the king was also surprised. He said, oh, what is he doing sitting here looking like this? So simple, so calm, he doesn't care. So the king walked up to him and said, "Oh Sheikh, what are you doing here?" He said, "I'm just enjoying the sunlight. I've done with the work of the teaching of the day. So just happened to be sitting here, just enjoying the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Enjoying the an'amat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." So the king told him that, "Do you know who I am?" The Sheikh said, I don't know who you are. I'm just minding my own business. I don't know who you are." King said, "Well, I am the king. So if you need anything, tell me. Is there anything that you desire I can take care of?" Sheikh said, "I have no desires of this dunya, just leave me. I don't want anything from you." The king said, "No, you ask, you meet the king, maybe not necessarily President Trump, but if you meet a powerful person, what do we wish from them, So he told the Sheikh, he said, "If you just tell me, I will, do anything." He said, "Okay, fine." He said, "Since you say that you're a king, I'm trying to enjoy the sunlight. These mosquitoes won't leave me alone. If you can do anything for me, tell these mosquitoes to leave me alone." The king said, "What kind of strange request, He said, "The mosquitoes won't listen to me." He said, "What kind of king are you, Even the mosquitoes don't listen to you." The king said, "Okay, ask something else." Sheikh said, "Listen, I'm trying to enjoy the sunlight and you're standing in front of the sun, blocking me. Just move, okay, so I can have the sun. Just do this much for me, man. Just go. You can't even tell these mosquitoes to leave me alone. You want to be the king of the world, man. Just go, leave me alone. Leave me to my own muraqabah and my own dhikr." So this is the reality of people who don't care for this dunya. We should be simple people. We should not have these grand desires for this world. What this world has. How many have come? They had bigger desires than us. They had bigger dreams than us. Where are they today? They came, they left. Wise people, they prepare for the akhirah. We should prepare ourselves for the akhirah. We don't know if we're going to go tonight. We don't know if we're going to go tomorrow. We don't know when we're going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But as wise people, we should be wise. Be prepared to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala anytime. This world isn't worth it. It has come to many and has left everyone. This dunya, anyone that this world has married, this world has divorced. No one has married this world forever. This is the reality of this dunya. So we should also be wise. We should treat the dunya, take our needs and go. One of the mashayikh gave a very, very beautiful example, and I'll leave you with this example. He said that, we should be like the wise fly. This insect, the fly? And he said we should be the wise fly that's around sweets. We have a kind of sweet that's also liquid type of, He said that what the wise fly does is it goes and takes what it needs and then it flies away. He said, what the foolish fly does? It sits on that sweet and then it sits there. And then it gets stuck inside and now it dies inside the sweet. It has no way of getting out. He said that's what we should be we should be the wise fly. And we should treat this world like that sweet. We should take from the dunya what we want and we go. Whatever we need, take your needs. Don't go beyond your needs. And if you take your needs, then you'll be like that wise fly, you won't get stuck. But if you start sitting there and you say, man, this tastes good, and you start going for your desires, then you'll get stuck. And once you get stuck, Allahu Akbar, there's no way to come out. You see the debt that this country is going through? People they're buying homes on debt, buying cars on debt. If you see the numbers of what the debt in this country is, one person, what kind of debt they have, one will be shocked at what's the point of living even. Even in one lifetime, you can't pay off that kind of debt. On top of that, they have credit cards. We're not even going to come to the credit card debt. The whole life is on debt. You like that fly that got stuck inside, there's no way to come out. Wise people, just take what you need, live on your needs, and be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us understanding and give us the tawfiq to practice His deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغِ. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم نور قلوبنا بالقرآن وزين أخلاقنا بالقرآن ونجنا من النار بالقرآن وادخلنا في الجنة بالقرآن. اللهم اجعل القرآن لنا في الدنيا قرينا وفي القبر مونسا وعلى الصراط نورا وفي الجنة رفيقا ومن النار سترا وحجابا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك